Welcome into another episode of Off the Carousel. I'm Jeff Goodman, and I'm joined by new New Mexico head coach Eric Olen, who came from UC San Diego. And all right, the first thing, Eric, I've always said, like, you never leave San Diego, ever leave San Diego. You know better than this, but a chance to obviously coach at a place like New Mexico in the pit. This is a no-brainer. Let's face it. And no disrespect to your former place, which you did an incredible job of building, transitioning. But again, the opportunity to coach at a place like New Mexico for you, what does that mean, and what was that process like?
Yeah, absolutely right. Like I mean, we love San Diego. We love UC San Diego. We built a life here, and we weren't just looking to leave. You know what I mean? And it was going to take a really special opportunity, but one of those came along, and this is one of those places that it's as good a place to be a basketball player or a college basketball coach as there is in the country. The support and enthusiasm from the fan base, the home environment, the history, like all of it has it all. It's a special place, and yeah, we're so fired up to be here.
I went for the first time in the pit ever, believe it or not, last year. First time ever. And it blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And Richard Pitino, I mean, the good thing for you, and a lot of people say, all right, you want to be that guy that follows the guy that didn't win. And for some cases, that's true. But wouldn't you much rather follow a guy that did win, that left the program in a pretty good spot? And I know it's different now with the portal and NIL. But again, he left it in a good spot where the fans are so they're connected right now. They are.
Yeah,
They're always passionate, but I feel like it's even at a different level with some of the success that the Lobos have had the last couple of years.
absolutely. Like right, there's a couple different scenarios where you can inherit. It's like one where they're really struggling or one where they're having a ton of success, and we're in the latter. Mountain West regular season champs. The bar is really high at second round of the NCAA tournament. So you know, but that's part of why you want to be here because of what's possible, and we saw some of that, and we want to try to build on it. We want to try to do those things and potentially more. And so we're excited about that. We're not going to run from expectations. Like we expect to have really good basketball teams. And so we're thrilled for the opportunity.
So for people that don't know, um, you've only really coached at one place in your entire life at UC San Diego. You're an Alabama guy. You moved out to follow your guy Bill Carr out there to UC San Diego. You're an assistant. You take the job as a head coach. You lead the team in the transition. You're finally eligible after 4 years, and you and I have talked about this. The 4 year window is ridiculous, but that's for another day. Um, your first year eligible for the postseason. You win the regular season, and then the pressure's on to win the postseason, the League Big West tournament, and you win that. So you sweep both, and you get to the tournament. What was that like? Because you and I talked in the middle, towards maybe I don't know 2/3 of the way through the season, and was there a ton of pressure because these were kids that again had this opportunity? A lot of them waited for it, and for some of them it was their only chance, and they took advantage. And the pressure's there for 3 days to win the Big West title, and they did it.
Yeah, I mean, there's pressure in every one bid league, right? Like if you're in a one bid league and you're in the
Not,
conference
hey, not
tournament,
when you're not eligible for the postseason, though. Not as
yeah,
much.
yeah, exactly. Well, that we couldn't play in the conference tournament, right? So it
Right.
was, but yeah, if you're in a one bid league, there's certainly pressure in that, and especially as the favorite and having the type of season that we had, I think that only ramps up because you want to pay it off at the end. Um, but I think one of the things that really helped us, first of all, we just had a really mature group, so like I think their approach to it was fantastic. So that was the main thing. But another part of it was we were having such a good year that although in hindsight we probably didn't get there, we felt like there was an outside shot at an out large berth, just because of our metrics, because we had played such great basketball. So I think we felt pressure in that part of it. And I can, I was going in the after games, film sessions, locker room where, we were playing in a sort of like elimination game for weeks.
Because if you lost one of them, you knew you were probably done.
We were done, right? And so ultimately we were done and we didn't know, but like
Right. Right.
we couldn't really
Yeah.
do anything about it, but we felt it, right? And so going into the conference tournament, I told our guys like no one's more prepared for this than us because we've been like trying to just focus on possessions and like have a really narrow view of what we were doing. Control like we were having that conversation for a month before we even got to it. So I told them like we're the most prepared team for this. We've been doing this. This is what we've been doing for a month. We just have to keep doing it.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that, but you're right. Like that really did probably help you more than a lot of teams because you were playing with it for weeks leading
Yeah,
up
and
to it.
and and
Yeah.
and I think not dropping a game and kind of keeping that hope alive
Well, you had
allowed
an
us
older team. You had a mature team too that
very.
probably prepared the same way, didn't get too high, didn't get too low, and that I'm sure helped. And you're kind of like that, aren't you, as a coach? Pretty even
I try
keel?
to be.
Yeah.
I have my moments where I'm sure I'm not, but like yeah, I try to, not let the highs
Hey,
get
what
too
would your
high.
all right, what would your wife say if I said like what is the one thing that gets Eric the most upset at home? And I know you got two little girls, so I'm going to give you my story after, but what is the one thing she would say that pisses you off the most?
Oh, you know what? At home, I'm pretty like
You
I'm
chill?
pretty yeah,
You
pretty
are.
chill at home, but she'd probably say like unforced turnovers, she'd probably go.
Nothing about like, so for me, and I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but I got a daughter. We'll get it. Your two daughters are in the first and third grade. So my daughter's 21 now. And I always say now to people, like parents of younger kids, don't get all bent out of shape over the little stuff. Like I would yell at my daughter, turn off the lights all the time. That would be my big thing. Like, how could you leave the lights on? You're wasting money. And now I look back, I'm like, what was it, like $10 at the end of the day? Like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm yelling at her for that. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, nitpicking the dumbest things. So, anyway, what has that been like for you? You've got two young girls, thankfully, that are in the first and third grade and not in the ninth and 11th grade. Because if you had tried to move them then, trust me, Eric, this might not have been so smooth a transition.
Yeah, they're at a great age. They're a lot of fun right now, and they're excited. They're excited to move to a new house and a new place and decorate their new room. Like they're excited about all the positives, and they got a really positive worldview. So that's a lot of fun for us right now. And but this like the change has been difficult just from it's not something we've experienced, so it's our first time doing it. I've been in Albuquerque a lot the last 2 months, and kind of I've been trying to get back every week. Even I think there was one week where we're doing a million visits, and I flew in Saturday night and flew out Monday morning. But like I got Sunday with the family, So I've been wearing out that San Diego to Albuquerque Southwest flight, but
And
I'm
luckily, there's
really
a direct,
yeah,
right?
for sure. And it's short. So, but to have them in Albuquerque starting really this weekend and be there permanently is something we're all looking forward to.
So give people kind of an insight into your coaching style and your playing style. Because last year, again, you had a team that was mature, a bunch of guys that came from the D2 ranks, um, and played with a chip on their shoulder, but they moved the ball and they could really shoot it. Like those were two strengths of your team, right? Like you had a bunch of shooters, shot at a high level, took care of the ball, and moved the
Mm.
ball. I assume that's what you want to bring to New Mexico. Not
Yep.
always that easy, right? Like, if you had to describe your coaching style and the way you want to play, how would you do that?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and we absolutely had a group that made it easy. But we definitely want to share the ball. It's not heliocentric in like the ball's in one guy's hands. Like we want to be we want to have a lot of threats on the floor. Like offensively, the goal is really keep pressure on the defense and not allow them to relax. And there's lots of different ways to do that. But we want ball movement. We do want to shoot threes. Like we try to create 3-point volume. I think we were pretty close to half of our attempts from three, like top 10 in the country in 3-point attempt rate. And so that obviously spreads the floor out, right? So we want to use use that to open the floor and then really attack the basket. So rim pressure is, I think, a lot of people think about like, oh, we're going to shoot a lot of threes, but the other part of that is rim pressure, and whether that's from a drive or from a cut or whatever, like I do think you have to have pressure on the rim to create the opportunities. So we want to have a balance of that. We want to play with pace. I mean, we weren't one of the fastest teams in the country offensively, but we were top half. Like we played with more pace than less. Um, yeah, and we want to make really good decisions, right? Something we talk about all the time is end of drive decision making. Like that's a thing that I think is really important part of offensive basketball. Like right up there with shooting it is what are you doing at the end of your drive? Like your ability to make a good decision at the end of that is paramount to good offense in my mind. So those are like really important aspects of the offensive style. And then defensively, we want to be disruptive. I think that's something that we really leaned into in specifically last year, and we've tried to identify guys that in for this team that have that ability. I think that's one of those things that you can get them in the positions, but you maybe can't quite teach it, just some of that anticipation and making plays on the ball. So we want to do that. I think that leans to that helps you be explosive, like make runs and if you can turn people over. So we're gonna try to do those things defensively and be really versatile and interchangeable on that side of the ball.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
How different has it been, the fan support? I don't know what it was at UC San Diego, but I'm guessing you had to build it. And even at that point, it's hard, right? San Diego, the weather's beautiful. I know what it's like. I mean, it's hard to get anybody watching any games in San Diego because it's beautiful, 70 degrees every day. New Mexico, again, we started with this, but they are rabid, insane fans. Have you gotten a taste of that yet? And how? Is there some story so far that could kind of illustrate,
Yeah,
maybe even that surprised you?
for sure. It was we were we were closing on our house a couple weeks ago and my wife and I stopped at a Starbucks and my guy behind the counter on instead of putting my name on the cup, he wrote, "Are we going to take another big in this class?" on my Starbucks cup. So shout out to that guy at the Starbucks. I appreciated it, but that
That's
that was
great.
one where and like Laura, my wife, was like, "No way!" And I was like, "No, it's right here. Like everybody's paying attention here, and like that's a cool moment. It's fun to have, and yeah, like we talked about at the beginning, it's part of why we're out here.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Pitino used to tell me that all the time. He was like, man, like the fans out here are so good, like so good. He won enough that it was easier for him, right? Like, you don't win. Listen, they may
Sure.
not be so good to you, but he
Yeah.
won enough that my guess is he was put on a pedestal. Even when I was out there, you could see it. Um, for you, what has it been like, or what was it like? Because I don't know if is your roster completely done yet, or pretty close?
Pretty
Am I?
close. Yeah.
Okay. So, what was that process like? Because you had never gone through anything like this,
Yeah.
obviously, and especially at this level where it's a little bit different, right? I mean, obviously, I don't know what you had in NIL. You want to tell me what you had at UC San Diego last year?
No, you would laugh. It
I'm
was
sure I
love.
could
It was love.
guess.
Yeah.
I'm,
It was
I'm
love.
sure it was. I don't know. Might have been. I'd guess like 20 grand total, something like that. I don't know.
We were a little bit better than that,
All
but
right, all right.
yeah.
So you got them paid probably as you won more. You probably got them a little bit more money. But what's that been like for you as an adjustment to playing kind of a different world right now?
Yeah, I mean, so conceptually it's similar in terms of how you're trying to build your team. It's just I think it's easier to scale up than go down. right? So when you're working with minimal resources and you're trying to be, get the most out of them, I think it's an easier adjustment to move up than to move down. I think the biggest challenge for us was just the lack of returning players, right? Like we have zero players back. So essentially, even some of the guys who came with us are sort of in the portal, in the free agency landscape. So it is a challenge to kind of get the right value you're looking for at different positions and different roles. And so there's an aspect of that when you're bringing in everyone 100% from free agency or just recruiting. Um, that's just a little bit different version of the team building. So, certainly we made some, we did the best we could, but it wasn't like the perfect
Yep.
version in terms of, making the most of our dollars and all that from a efficiency standpoint. But I also think we learned some stuff, and we'll be better at it for having gone through that process. So that's the thing, is just trying to make sure that we learn from everything we do, and we're shaped by our experiences, and we keep getting better at it. So there's lots of stuff that from that experience that we'll get better at. But it was totally new in terms of building from scratch, all new players, like trying to project. Who's going to be the higher usage guys, how, some of these guys are going to be in different roles, and, everybody's kind of looking for, not everybody's looking for the role that you want them to play in. And so just really trying to identify guys who we felt like in this landscape still care about winning, want to be part of a team, have a competitiveness that I think is crucial. Because we not just have to build a cohesive team, like it has to be a cohesive locker room. We have to build a connected group. Like that stuff matters in how you play winning basketball, right? So that'll be our biggest challenge. I think I really am excited about the level of talent that we have, but can we take a group of essentially 15 new guys and build a team with that, and have a connected group that cares about the same thing? Like that's the challenge for us. And so but I think we have the right people for it. So we're looking forward to it.
Have you called anybody on that? I wonder, like, is there anybody? Because there are some coaches that did it last year and were successful. I think off the top of my head Mark Pope did it at Kentucky. Pat Kelsey did it at Louisville. There were a couple guys, and I was shocked because I really thought, especially last year, because there were a few like that completely revamped their rosters. Maybe took a couple guys like you did with you, but for the most part had a completely different team and were in a new environment as coaches and did really well. Have you reached out to anybody like where do you try to figure that part out with trying to get the chemistry as quickly as you can? Because that's such an important component that I thought watching Kentucky last year, to be honest, Eric, I was blown away, especially even early at the Champions Classic, as how well those guys mesh together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody talks about like how you do that. I think that's a kind of pretty relevant topic to everybody. I mean, you're talking about, Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey are two really high level guys in this business, and who are doing it at a high level. But I think another thing too that I'm always trying to be conscious of is being authentic and not trying to like
Yep.
be someone else, right? So if you're always looking at like how someone else does it, and you think like, oh, I'll take that idea, and we steal all kinds of ideas, right?
Everybody does.
Yeah,
Everybody.
you have to. But I think there's a personal authenticity aspect of the team building that's important, where you can't always replicate what other people are doing. So I'm always a little conscious of some aspects of it that you maybe don't want to steal, because it's a little better if you can create it organically yourself. So that's something that I think is important. But I also think like one nice aspect too that is like everybody's going to start with this commonality of like, hey, we're all new here. Literally, like outside, the only person back from our program is our athletic trainer, and I'm fired up that Grant wanted to stick around for us. But like this collective
Even your
newness,
AD is fairly new.
yeah, a couple months, right? And so I think like having everybody coming to Albuquerque for the first time, like Monday will be the first time that our entire staff was physically in the same place, right? And so, and then the next Monday, our players will start to show up. So So we're getting close, and we do have this commonality of, hey, we're all brand new here. We're doing this together. So hopefully that can kind of get us off to a good start, and then we'll have to do a good job of building it from there.
Did New Mexico ever play in a bye game, or is this going to be your first game at the pit?
This will be my first
Really?
experience at the pit, and so yeah, I can't wait. I've heard about it.
Yeah.
We're telling everybody how great it is, but I don't know firsthand, and but just walking in there, you can feel it.
Oh,
When you
totally.
walk in the building, even when it's empty, I mean, you can. It just feels different, and it's really exciting.
Has this given you, I mean, again, we're all, I don't know how old you are. I'm 53, 52 right now. I can't remember. When you get to be in your 50s, it doesn't, you forget, right? But like, do you feel rejuvenated in a way? Not to say that, I mean, you've been at UC San Diego for a while.
Yeah.
And then to take a job like this with this history again, to be able to walk into the pit that first game, I assume you're going to get, I don't know if jitters is the right word, but you're
Oh, I
gonna,
have them just thinking about it.
right.
Yeah, just thinking about
You're
it,
gonna
I
be
get
so
butterflies.
excited. Yeah.
And no, I loved our time there. UC San Diego is special to me. The people, um, but like once you're anywhere for some period of time, or this an extended period of time like that, I do think there are aspects of it, and I don't mean that I wasn't working hard or but
Right.
like there are
Yeah.
aspects of it that were kind of on cruise control,
Yep. Yep.
and so like there's none of that here, right? And
Well,
like
it's even
that,
walking into the office every day, right? Like the mountains, let's say the mountains behind you are different than, and San Diego's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. San Diego's, listen, if there's one place I want to retire to, probably can't afford to, it's San Diego. But those mountains in Albuquerque, you look behind you, it's different. It's just different.
everything's different, and so like, but that's an exciting aspect of it for me. And yeah, I do feel some level of rejuvenation or
Yep.
yeah, energized by all this new stuff and how we're going to do it. And there's just so much more uncertainty, right? Like we kind of knew, okay, this is our routine at UC San Diego. So we're establishing that and we know I know going in, we're gonna make some mistakes along the way. We're not gonna have it all figured out from the start. But like the people there have been amazing. Rich Pitino's been awesome. Like
Does he?
I've talked
You
to him a
reach out
couple
to him,
times,
and
and yeah,
yeah,
and,
he's
and
been good.
guys from his staff have also been great for us to as resources to help us kind of hit the ground running. So everybody's been awesome, and we're really excited about it. And we'll make some mistakes along the way, but it's that's a fun process to figure it out. Who are the right guys for us? How are we going to build this? We have sort of the core concepts that we really believe in, but there's always going to be adjustment on the margins, and that's cool. As a coach, I think that's part of the fun of figuring it out and trying to put people in the right positions, and both with your players and then staff. Like I think that I have a fantastic staff that's really complementary in terms of their skill sets and personalities, and I think that's an important aspect. So all of it, we put a lot of thought and intention into our decision making, both in how we built all of it, and that's been a new experience for me is building the entire program from the ground up with from scratch really. And so yeah, it has been rejuvenating and yeah, like I said, I've been saying we're excited and I can't wait to get started.
I mean, I can tell. Like I can tell just seeing it, even through the Zoom, you can tell how excited you are. All right, we're gonna finish with kind of rapid fire, just like 4 or 5 random questions. All right, they may be tough. We'll start with you can eat dinner with one person, any person, dead or living. Who would you pick?
That is a tough question. You know what? Right now, with where if he's going to be the commissioner of college college athletics, and I'm a big Alabama football fan, so I'm gonna go Nick Saban there
All
for.
right, all right. I figured that's not that surprising coming from you. Um, Give me your favorite player growing up. Was who?
Michael Jordan.
Okay. Um, who's the coach, basketball coach you admired the most?
You know, I think someone that I've always kind of looked up to and how he's built his program and what he does. I think he's one of the best coaches in college basketball. is actually a UC San Diego alum, is Randy Bennett
Oh,
at
you're
St.
right.
Mary's.
Yep.
You know, and as someone who was
Yeah.
at UC San Diego for a very long time, that was something like I always kind of watched what he did, and he's someone I've always admired and gotten to know, and yeah, just a ton of respect for Randy and what he's done there, and you know, that was certainly like thinking about how he did that made the decision um, difficult for me. But I think the era is different too, you know,
Yep.
like I don't know that everything can be built exactly the same way in today's landscape.
No, I've said this to people. If there's one practice that I would want to go to, and I have gone to them before, like one practice of one coach, I'm picking Randy Bennett. Like just the way he teaches, the way he conducts practice, the way he teaches. And he's also like some guy, he's almost like too low key in terms of like he never toots his own horn. Like like crazy how I think how much more respect Randy Bennett deserves. And I think within the industry he gets it. But I think outside of us, I don't think Randy Bennett gets nearly enough credit for what he's done.
Yeah,
At St. Mary's.
from your
Right.
general college basketball fan, I don't think
Right.
there's enough appreciation.
Right. Agreed. All right. Your favorite meal. Give me like your go-to meal would be what, and maybe where, but it might be like it could be what's the place in San Diego? Oh, Jake's in Del Mar.
Yeah.
Jake's is pretty good. I don't know if I go there number one.
Poseidon next door. So we're kind of in our last few days here,
Okay.
and actually, we took when the girls went to school, we actually went and had lunch and had fish tacos in
Yeah.
Poseidon on the
Yeah.
beach just on Wednesday. So
Did you?
yeah,
All right. Well, listen, really good catching up. Congrats on the new gig. Hopefully, you guys will be good enough so I can get back out to the pit. That's the
let's
goal.
go.
I loved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved it. And one of my good friends who I went to Arizona with, Brett Giarratano, is from Albuquerque. So I got to get him out there. Maybe he and I will get out there and get to a game at some point this year. But congrats and thanks for taking some time, Eric. And we'll talk.